Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading room. Hang on here a second. We'll get the screen share going on. All right. So, yesterday, fairly quiet until the last few minutes of trading. This now the NASDAQ, the Eagle, trend trader. And you can see most of the session was fairly dull, fairly lackluster. We did put in a little bit of an uptrend, saw a little bit of a pullback. There were some decent sized swings in here, but the real fun didn't happen until near closing, and then after closing through the Asian and European sessions, the market continuing to drift lower. We are left with a very large opening gap here this morning. And it will be interesting to see whether the market's going to try to get into that gap or whether it's going to treat it as an acceleration gap and just keep going. We're going to need a few minutes here to kind of get our bearings. Right now, it's looking as though perhaps the market will try to rally up a little bit. Maybe. We're only a couple of minutes into the day. All right, well, I don't want to do anything silly here right out of the gate, but things are starting to look a little bit more bullish. Just wondering if I shot a trend line across here, where it might end up. Oh, look at the trade forecaster. Trend mode, approximately 175 minutes. That's just approximate, however. Okay. Looks like a possible buy here on the Raptor. It's maybe a little bit ahead of the curve. What time is it? Oh, we're only 6 minutes into the day. Lots of conflicting information with those opening gaps. You know, there's obviously a lot of downward pressure. And there's also the market's tendency to try to reverse an overnight trend. Couple decent scalp signals here on the hot scalper. And now a little bit of a pushback. I do hope that we see a little bit more follow through today, not like the last couple of days where everything's just been kind of dull and sideways. Here's an early opportunity on the hawk for a failed red bar buy signal. I'm going to adjust that a little bit. It's also developing now into a first micro macro cross lower. I don't think I'm going to force the trade though. I think I'll. Oh, and now it's into yellow bars. All right, let's close that out. I can still take advantage of this failed red bar buy if the market, if the market reverses and heads lower. As the market reverses and heads lower, all right, I'll leave that order on, and here we're getting actually a number 3 signal on the Raptor with a second push opportunity. So the market's slowly getting a little bit congested, a little bit pinched. All right, a follow-up number 3 signal now. You could do an OCO order here as well. You could look to buy a breakout above. You could look to short a breakout below. In fact, why don't we try that? So I'll look to buy a breakout above. I'll look to sell a breakout below. So remember, what you need to do is you turn your OCO on, and then you right click on your chart to select your order. Just make sure you select the right one. And these orders will be live when you put them on your chart, so you can move them around as you deem appropriate. I don't want the orders too tight, because there will be a tendency of the market maybe just to fudge the highs and lows a little bit. All right, looks as though they're going to try. Oops, let's punch back into that one. There was a little, sometimes the OCO order will cancel the other order. I don't know why it's doing that. It doesn't do it all the time. It's just a little glitch in there somewhere. So if that does happen, you can always manually re-enter the trade. When you do that, however, it's advisable to have your trade manager set in manual mode, because trade manager will default to your risk percent mode. And now the dangers of doing OCO orders, the fake break, the false breakout. Yeah, doggone it anyway. I thought we may see a little bit more follow through to the short side, but it does not look that way. It does not look as though the sellers are at all interested. Okay, so now we got ourselves a number one signal. And we'll be looking now for a buying opportunity. Okay, another little bit of a pullback now, which is what we want. We want to see a pullback. Hey, nicely done. Floyd picking up nice little profit here. He says crude oil rally up $500 on 2 contracts. Well done. And Mark crushing it this morning. He says I'm up over 1,000 on the trend change and the late filter signal. Not quite sure which late filter you're looking at. Probably pre-market. I don't see a late filter here this morning yet. But well done, well done. It does look as though the market is going to favor the upside here today. Maybe we're going to try to get into that gap. Okay, we got ourselves a bit of a 4-arrow consolidation going now on the hawk. And so the 4-arrow consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4, we expect the market to rally off that 4th signal. No, they're not liking it. Back into yellow bars, so that spoiled that signal. Yeah, Scott summing it up here so eloquently. He says, geez. This next attempt to move the market lower is really going to be the last chance for the sellers. If they don't get it together this time, then there's a really good chance we're going to try to fill that gap. And I can get some of my money back. I see Mark says the late filter was at 6:40 your time, right here. This little guy right there. So the filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Trend line never changing color. This on your Falcon swing trader. It did take a little bit of heat, so it just illustrates the importance of not keeping your stops overly tight. It's actually a decent illustration of why I try to keep my stops 2 swings back as well. See, if you micromanage, you can say, oh, well, there's swing 1, there's swing 2. The market comes down, tags you out, and goes up without you. But really, these 2 swings are pretty much the same price. So there is swing 1. I suppose you could say that's swing 2, but really swing 2 is down here somewhere. Okay, so much for the rally attempt. Wow, we're really getting some mixed signals now, aren't we? The Hawk, the Falcon, both bearish. In fact, we're getting a nice little trend change signal here on the Falcon, which I may try to do. And the Eagle back into the hard edge, as is the Raptor. And of course, when we encounter the hard edge, we're usually anticipating some sort of reaction. The Hawk now full on bearish as well, although it's kind of drifting kind of sideways. We are getting a first micro macro cross lower combined with a macro pullback. So the first micro macro cross occurring right here. And the market now coming back to that same price level. And they slipped me a tick on that also. So we'll see if we get any follow through on that. And let's see if the market's going to head lower. Where is the low of the morning? Down here around 74.20. That could be a little ambitious, but you can see we have a support line near that zone. Both trades now in a break-even position, and hopefully we'll see a little downward momentum at this point. Come on, just a little. Play nice. All right, here I think I'm going to engage my parabolics now. Let's protect some of that profit. And likewise here. And we're going to get a little bit more aggressive on the stop strategy. Okay. Well, that's all right. It was a pretty decent move. I would have done a little better had I been a little bit more prepared here on the parabolics, which I intended. It looks like I could have picked up another $20, $30. But a decent move all the same. The bar high low and the parabolic are going to be two of your more aggressive stop strategies that you can employ. If your intention is to try to hang on as long as possible, you may want to go with one of the ATR-based strategies, like the ATR or Super Trend or Chandelier. They will hold you in a little bit longer. Hey, well done, Mark. Mark says, nice trade, Eric. I took it too with 6 cars and 2 profit targets. Picked up another 750. Well done, Mark. Yeah, that's the way to do it, folks. You know, you don't have to trade often, but Mark is now in a position where he can trade multiple contracts, and that, of course, is going to make a lot of difference to your overall profit. Your objective as a trader really is to make $50 a day. That's your starting point. If you can do $50 a day, then try to do 100 a day. Try to find 2 good $50 trades a day or 1 good $100 trade. And after that, it just becomes a game of multiples. For the benefit of the new people in the room, you know, if you do the math, $100 a day, we're ignoring now commissions and fees and whatnot, but $100 a day, if you do that every day, excuse me, that's $20,000 a year. If you can do that with 3 contracts, that's $60,000 a year. Still not enough money? Do it with 5 contracts. That's $100,000. 10 contracts, $200,000, and on it goes. Most people run into trouble when they try to trade too often. You can see the market's hesitation now as we're back near the lows, the low of the morning. And we've got several number 3 signals here now, continuation signals. I think, oh, well, I'm going to have to enter below the low of the morning, it looks like, anyhow. Can I cover the trade up there? Yes, I can. Okay, I'm going to try to stretch this profit objective a little bit as well. It seems the market a little bit downside bias. Oh, look at her go. All right, let's see if we can get 2 zones. The first zone is really the higher probability objective. For those of you looking to try to run out the trade, look at this block of selling coming through the marketplace here now. And the buyers are balancing it off a little bit, but let's see, come on. Let's get a little bit more selling. This block of selling, by the way, was on the break of this low. Took out a lot of sell orders and trapped a few buyers on the wrong side, but let's see if it actually gets some follow through to it now. And I'll be a little bit more prepared this time with my parabolic strategy. Okay, so I got parabolics enabled. If the market tails off from here, I'm ready, and we'll see what happens. See, here's a great testimonial from somebody who's done it. Mark says, after following along with me for the last few years, I started small and worked my way up. Went from $250 a daily target, now up to $1,500. High probability trades and patience have been the ingredients. I still only take 2 to 4 trades a day, but the contract increase has been the key lately. And that's absolutely it. And it's not like, you can just jump into the deep end either. A lot of people, especially if you're well funded, I've worked with people who are trading $500,000 accounts, but they still have a hard time when they're trading 3 or 4 contracts to see those numbers jumping around. That's one reason that I turn off the P&L. I want to concentrate what's going on here. I'll review my P&L at the end of the day. But that's a great testimonial, and yeah, like Scott says, following for a few years, referring to Mark's comment there, you got to put in the time. Consider yourself like a craftsman, right? Anybody can work a circular saw. My dad could build you a piece of furniture with a circular saw because he was a craftsman. He was a cabinet maker. I can build you a fence. Well, I could probably do a little better than that. All right, a little trickle down here, not quite what I might have expected after putting in a new low. No, there we go, the parabolics. That's one thing about the parabolics, they will take you out on the first sign of weakness, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Oh, here they come again. Maybe. Yeah, like Mark makes a comment here. It's like an apprenticeship or college education takes time and study. And you're right. It's a business like any other. And if you treat it seriously, like a business, you will do better. If you're running your business and you're just, kind of working at it when you feel like it, well, your results will probably reflect that. We have we have a business in town that's like that. We always say the owner doesn't need the money. He runs a restaurant. It's a pretty good restaurant, but he opens at 11 and he closes at 5:30. Yes, that's right. He closes just before dinner time. Obviously, he doesn't need the money, or he doesn't want the money. Yeah, John asking here, can the audio signals be adjusted to refer to the specific futures, like the E-mini, the NASDAQ? Yes, they can. And I'll give you a really quick overview of how to do it. What you want is you want a text to speech reader. So you can search text to speech. There's lots of free ones. I'm not recommending this one. I don't know. I haven't done any of these for a while, but what you want to do is you can select from all these different voices. Here, let's listen to Gabriel, and you would type your text here. So if this is what you want the alert to be, and then you can listen to it. Oh, okay, so he's pronouncing it, so we're going to have to put in a couple of periods. Okay, Gabriel, you don't get it. he's still yes, no, it's not a word, Gabriel. Anyways, there's several of these text to speech readers. When you find one you like, they normally allow you to save the file, which will probably be this symbol right here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to import it into your sound files on your Raptor. So you're going to go to your NinjaTrader, and you're going to find somewhere around here we have sound files. Anyways, I'm not going to waste too much time on it right now. You can email Ben about it when you have the text to speech file done. It will be the same place that you imported your sound files when you first installed your software. I forget exactly where that is. But yes, you can fine tune them as much as you want. See, I'm the opposite. I prefer it more generic. I've turned all my sound files just to, and this is me. It's not that it's better or worse. This is a reason we give you these opportunities so that you can change it the way you like it. But all my sound files, see, they just say, oh, well, actually I turn it off, but usually it would just say swing. It wouldn't say swing long, wouldn't say swing short, it would just say swing or scalp or trend. And then it will draw my attention to the appropriate tool. Ah, yeah, okay, thanks, Mickey. Mickey says the sound files are on your C drive. So you would go to your computer, and somewhere in here, you would find your NinjaTrader amongst your program files, I think. Watch me mess up my computer. There we go. Yes, right you are. Thanks, Mickey. So you go to your computer, program files, NinjaTrader, and that's where you would plump your new sound files. And then when you go into your Raptor for your specific tool, so if this were for the NASDAQ, now you can go to your audio alert, wherever it is. Oh, here it is. And you can select, cloud crossover NASDAQ, cloud crossover E-mini, and so on. John, yes, you can hire Ben to do that for you. Just shoot him an email. Yeah, Mark says the sound files drive me crazy, so I've turned them off. Yeah, Mark says I only trade the NASDAQ, so there's no need. You have to find a market or group of markets that you're comfortable with. And I'm a firm believer that it's worth your while to stick with a core group of markets and learn their tendencies. The markets will exhibit a lot of the same traits, however, each market has its own tendencies as well. If you've ever known any kids that are twins, yeah, they look alike and they act alike most of the time, but there's also, once you get to know them, there's differences between the two. And if you get to know them really well, you wonder why sometimes people don't see the difference between the twos. Trading is similar. The NASDAQ will move the same as the E-mini, which will move the same as the Russell, which will move the same as the mini Dow, but not exactly. Each market will have its own little tendencies as well. All right, here we're getting a cloud cross now on the Raptor with a little bit of a second push opportunity, and the market kind of bouncing now off of that break off of the low. Let's see if they get up there. I think they slipped me again, you stinkers. Yes, they did. They slipped me another tick. Just kind of in line with summer trading here. I'll see if I can sneak that tick back if they'll give it to me. Mark makes a comment, if you trade multiple markets, I can see the validity of the audio alerts. And that's exactly why we developed them. First off, of course, with the DTS system, because you're watching 3 different charts at the same time. So the audio alerts would say scalp, swing, trend, and draw your attention to the appropriate chart. Years ago, one of our owners could do a very good Christopher Walken impersonation. And he would, for room members, he would even do his own audio alerts as Arnold Schwarzenegger. He also did Arnold Schwarzenegger and Christopher Walken. I think I still have some of his audio files. They're quite funny. There's that scene in Predator where Arnold Schwarzenegger says, "Get to the chopper." Well, he did one for us. It says, "Get to the scalpa." All right, well, we trickled up to break even. Come on, we're flinching a little bit here at the secondary support line, which is also just shy of the high of the morning. Doggone it, no follow through. Looks like I picked up a couple of ticks on that one. That'll keep Scott happy. I'm getting a few comments about the impersonations on the on the signals. Might have to look into that. I guess Kevin Spacey isn't too busy right now. Maybe he could do a few for us. All right. It does appear as though the buyers are getting serious about a rally now. And I got tagged out on that little bit of a hiccup here, so I'm looking for one of these discretionary signals. And maybe a second chance to hop into the market. All right, so here we go. We got the warning dot. Oops, I was just gonna take a look, see where the, if I still had those sound files. Oh yeah, then you did Arnold Schwarzenegger when you get stopped out. Consider this a stop loss. That was pretty terrible, I know, but he had a few of them. He was quite clever. Actually got a 4-arrow consolidation here on the hawk. The 4-arrow consolidation, the only signal I will consider taking on a yellow bar on the hawk. The 4-arrow consolidation, essentially a bull flag pattern. That's what you're looking for. And the market will tend to go on the 4th signal. Sometimes you can see it will end up in a bit of a sideways drift, but very often it will be this type of shape, where it pulls back against the trend. And 1, 2, 3, there's your 4th signal. And we should get some follow through from that. We actually have a second push opportunity on that 4-arrow consolidation. Now that we see where the market's reacting to that. Good job, Mark. Mark says, rode that Falcon trend up on the trend change signal. And he says, my day is done. Yeah, I agree. Mark says that may have been the move of the morning. I think you could be right. That was a pretty steady little ride back up to the highs. The market fairly balanced now overall. We should see, now that we're back into the hard edge here on the Raptor, not quite to the big hard edge on the Eagle. We could see a hard edge bounce. John asking, can you keep the chart 5 bars from the left edge fixed? Yes, you can, and let me show you how you do that. So you're going to, oh, wait a second here, we may just get that hard edge bounce signal. No, okay. So you're going to right click on your chart. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to miss that signal if I get it. No, okay, they're pulling away. All right. So you're going to right click on your chart and you're going to pull down here to the very last entry, properties. So select your properties. And the right side margin is what you want. And you can experiment with the number. I think by default it's 150 or 250, something like that. You can see I'm running 100. It gives you space about 3/4 of an inch off of the price axis. Once you have found the number you like, save it as a default. Apply it and save it as a default. And then you can, it will automatically be that way when you open up another chart. I don't know. We're kind of getting a mixed bag of signals here again. A little bit of flip-flopping. I may throw a single here on the hawk. We got a first micro macro cross to go lower. So the first micro macro cross on the hawk scalper simply means the micro line crosses the macro line, and this is the first signal, the first in sync signal that develops after that. Not quite to the break-even trigger yet. I'm going to leave the break-even in play because that's going to be very, very close to the hard edge now on the Raptor and the Eagle. And I'm thinking that if the market does make a bounce from there, that might be a good place to pack up my toys. Oh, and it looks like they did just that. It looks like they tagged me out of break even. Okay, back into the hard edge on the Eagle and the Raptor. So we're going to anticipate some sort of reaction now. Maybe a big reaction, maybe a little reaction, but we should expect a reaction all the same. And that would be our number 3 signal. Oh, we're actually producing a soft edge sell. That's the number 2 signal. So a possibility of a short here, but we'll see. In spite of a couple decent swings, the market's still really fairly neutral today. If we see what a daily chart looks like, yeah, there you go. There's your daily. We gapped lower, of course, but overall, tiny little range today. So this is interesting now. Is this soft edge sell signal that was forming, is that counter trend or is it with trend? If you look at, again, your daily chart, you could make a case that the new trend is down, right? Big gap lower. You can make a strong case that the trend has shifted, that the trend is down. In which case, this number 2 signal is not counter trend, it's actually with trend. I think I may hold on for a 2-3-2 type setup as we might be coming back here with a number 3 signal to buy. There's the number 3, so I'm just going to buy in that number 3 signal, and I'm going to pull my stop here a little bit to a more reasonable level, and we'll see. Where was the high of the morning? I'm going to try to stretch this out, see if the market doesn't get back to the high du jour. Let's see, what do we got here? So the market left off yesterday around here, I think. Here we could really try to stretch this out, go up to the primary support zone. That would be a fairly decent trade if I can get it, if the market does not flinch prematurely. If we break the high of the morning, we're almost certain to find the primary support line, that blue line right there at 74.52. If you want to be more ambitious yet, a move back to the median line at 74.61 3/4, I would consider that a home run. That would be 2 full zones on a break above this support line. So that being zone 1, that would be zone 2. If you're wondering why I favored the number 3 signal over the number 2 signal, it was primarily because the Geiger counter was turning green. Not really looking to sell when at least the shorter term bias seems to be bullish. Come on, you guys, get over the hump. Come on, big push. Here we'll give them a hand. I don't like to manipulate the market this way. But if I can just catch it quite right, I can push it a little higher. Come on, get up there. Let's go, get up there. Last chance for the buyers on this rally that we're watching. If they can't turn it at this point, then we're probably going to see the sellers try to move the market back down toward the lows. A little bit of a flinch again as we get close to the high of the morning. Come on, get up there. You can do it. Shouldn't be horsing around with my stops. I bore easily, what can I tell you? Nope. Okay, well, that's all right. It wasn't a terrible trade. I gave the market every opportunity to go higher, but they're happy where they are. That would have been a much better day had I not taken that stink bomb to start. Oh well, it happens. What I find most annoying about it is I know better. I know I don't like to trade early, and yet every once in a while, the old habits die hard. Hey, what a great name for a movie. Oh, there they go now. It's making me, like I said, it's making me wonder if the buyers can't hold it together. I'm thinking we're going to see a little bit more of a bear push at this point. We are getting another first micro macro cross. We just had a trend change signal here in the Falcon. We're still on that hard edge in the Eagle, which is a little bit of a concern. We'll see if we get a bounce up here and at least a second push opportunity on this number 2 signal. We could be a little bit more aggressive and set it up like so, just so we have one. Or we could wait for that 2-3-2 style setup, or maybe we have it here, 2-3-2. Normally I like to see it develop a little bit more quickly, but what I'm looking for is evidence that the market can't go higher anymore. That the market is getting ready, in fact, to head lower. And I said if it does go lower, they're probably going to try to recapture the lows of the day, or certainly the lows of the morning. You can see they're struggling a little bit right here at this 74.30 zone. Come on, just give me this little swing and we'll be off and running. No! Oh. Did they actually listen to me? There we go. Okay, so we'll get the stops going. Wow, they're getting a little bit of a traction. So let's see, that would be, well, the low of the morning again would be the ultimate target for this trade. What I'm gonna do is I'll probably bring my stops up when and if the market continues lower. And what I'll do is I'll put a bit of a pinch on the trade. So what I mean is I'll be watching it here to see when it starts to slow, and then I'll bring up my profit order and try to maximize the profit on the trade. I know it should try to get down here to the 74.17 line. All right, hold my stops for a second. So as we get closer to the low of the day, 74.19, or pardon me, the low of opening range, 74.19 quarter, and the secondary support line, 74.17 half, I'm going to expect the market to give me a little bit of a reaction. And once I see what that reaction is like, I may choose to bring my profit order up and try to take advantage of the market range. Gonna get ready to really put the squeeze on. Okay, here we go. We're hit the low of opening range, surpassed that. Now we are at that support zone, 74.17 half. Getting a little bit flinchy. The lows of the day down here, 74.10-ish. Okay, that's all right. Decent little move lower. Yeah, it would be a decent day today had it not been for my earlier faux pas. Still not a bad day overall. I like days like today. They're a little bit easier to trade. even though it's not a day that's going to make the news. There's the day right there, little doji. Yeah, Mark, you got it. Mark says any day you can walk away in the black is a good day. Right, you are. Might see a little bit of a pushback, I would anticipate. As well, it's Friday. We've seen a decent move lower, decent move higher, decent move lower. We've got a well-established, or it seems as though we're establishing a bit of a very broad trading range. So buyers are going to be looking down here, sellers are going to be looking up here. And the middle, well, it's going to be a little bit of a toss-up. A little bit more bullishness than maybe expected. I don't know. It's too early to call. It's still fairly neutral. Yep, see you, Scott. I'm thinking it may almost be time to close up shop. We're expecting a continuation of our heat wave here in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be pushing 90 degrees today. That's mid-30s Celsius. Oh, Environment Canada actually posted a heat warning for today. And maybe showers tomorrow. Well, those would be very welcome. Break the heat a bit. See, I know those of you who live in the southern states, in the high desert, are mocking me right now with our heat wave. But what you need to remember is not a lot of people in this part of the world bother with air conditioning because of our proximity to the ocean. Our temperature, from highs to lows, winter to summer, it probably only varies about 30 degrees. And that would be about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So our temperatures tend to be very moderate, normally around the mid 70s Fahrenheit, mid 20s centigrade. So very comfortable most of the time. But when this time of the year when we'll get a couple of weeks in a row of low mid 30s. That'd be around 80, 90 degree temperatures. It hurts. It hurts. The lineup at the Starbucks is around the block. Everybody lining up for their Frappuccinos. All right, gang, we're kind of hitting a little bit of a sideways skid. I think this might be a good time to button up shop. If you are going to continue trading today, I think it would be ambitious to see another run up around the 74.40, 74.50 zone. Right now, the market with a little bit of a bearish bent. So you may want to look maybe at this number one signal, especially now that we have a second push opportunity on it. The tough part for this signal is going to be covering the trade. This, I believe, would be a little bit too tight. You should at least consider halfways between this recent range. So you may set up to short something like that. But we are getting really close to the lunch hour. Things could get a little bit quiet. And like I said, it's Friday anyway. So a lot of traders going to start ducking out as the day goes on. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.